Are we good, Pat?
We're good.
Okay. We're here live from Springdale Lunch, and we're speaking with State Rep Patricia Duffy. And as always, we want to know what's going on in the State House. Representative Duffy, thank you, as always.
Thank you. Thank you. And what I want to know is why am I not at Springdale Lunch?
That's a good question.
So let's set a future date where you and I are both at Springdale Lunch. I love Springdale Lunch.
Definitely.
So the State House, it's a funny time. It's if you're used to the State House and the rhythm of the legislature, you're just like, oh yeah, it's that time. But so we have a 19-month session, and it starts in January of the odd year. So we'll start January 2023. It goes through the year and it ends July 31st of the even year. So our formal session ended on July 31st, 2022. But, you know, business continues. So, especially because there were a couple of big bills that we didn't finish. So twice a week, the House meets, and the Senate too, but I'm concentrating on the House. The House meets in informal session every Monday and Thursday. And it's usually, you know, I've had a home rule petition go through there. It's non-controversial bills, usually local in nature. And because the thing about informal session is if something comes onto the agenda, one single legislator can object to it. So what is happening now is that we did not finish before the end of formal session. We did not finish a big economic development bill that's got tons of great stuff. It has great stuff for Holyoke and Western Mass, but it's got great statewide policies too, like housing development incentives, great funding for hospitals like the Holyoke Medical Center that serve a more impoverished community and have to depend a lot on Medicaid billings. Yeah, a lot of really great stuff. Both chambers had agreed to the basics of it by July 31st, but you know, those last few things didn't come together. So
who was the party pooper? We need to know. Who were the party poopers who objected and delayed?
You want to know who the party poopers were?
Yeah.
The voters of Massachusetts in 1986. They passed a ballot question. It's now referred to as 62F. I think that's the chapter of the that it ended up in of the Massachusetts statutes. But that ballot question said that if the state revenues hit a certain ceiling, any surplus had to come back to taxpayers in the proportion in which they paid, which some would call regressive or not a progressive, and not progressive ideologically, but formulaically. And it has only happened twice. It happened in 1987 and it happened this year. And I guess you could say we should have seen it coming, because the auditor, you know, puts these reports out every month and we should have seen it coming. But I think none of us really believed it, or I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I don't know why we didn't see it coming. But by late July, it became clear that the tax proposals that were in that economic development bill, we weren't going to be, this 62F was going to hit, and we weren't going to be able to afford the tax. We weren't going to be able to afford all of it. So, that's happening. Actually, everybody out there, if you paid taxes last year, you're going to see some of that coming back. I think 13% of what we all paid, we're all going to see coming back. I can use it. I'm not going to say no to it. But I personally prefer seeing a tax system where those who are lower income get more relief. But that's not how this is going to look. So we're going to have to figure out another tax relief program in the next legislative session. So right now, committee chairs and House leadership, and same on the Senate side, they're just sort of polling through members, like, if the economic development bill looks like this, are you going to object? I'm hearing more and more that it's looking good. In fact, the chair of Ways and Means said today he sees it like it's going to be Governor Baker who signs that economic development bill. So there is going to be tons of great programs in there. We'll move on in the next session and look at tax relief and what we want to do.